Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bad Movie Reviews. I'm your host, and
And
here's
I'm
our.
I'm the other host, and it's time for
We
us to
have no we
review.
have no names this time around. We're
Yeah,
just host one and host two.
and
Um,
today's video is going to be the season finale of bad movie reviews. But don't worry, because we're probably going to be back next week anyway. But today we decided to do something massive. We're going to review all six Sharknado films. We were originally going to split this up into two parts, but we took a week off, as you can tell, and we're here to review all six films. Um, we're gonna review the first two first, and then we're gonna kind of bunch together the other four. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's
Let's
get
just
into
get over with.
let's just get into Sharknado one.
It's not Sharknado. It's Shitnado because
Yeah, because it's so bad. All right.
no, because of how bad the CGI sharks are.
Oh yeah, no. The CGI in this film is terrible. The CGI in
Also,
all the films are terrible, actually.
and let's not forget about the cameos in Sharknado's 2 and 3, which are tremendous.
Yes, there's a lot of cameos throughout the entire series. If I'm being
Yes,
completely
but
honest.
the cameos from 2 and 3 are some of my favorites.
Right. You got the Today Show people.
We can no we got to talk about them then. We're gonna talk about
All right, yeah. All right,
okay. So
let's.
Sharknado 1 begins with um a random boat scene.
Right. I didn't really know what that had like the effect of that on the plot.
I think it was just because we want to add to the body count.
They're like, God, not enough people have died yet. We're a second in. How come we haven't seen 500 people die?
But the thing is, with the Sharknado 1, the Sharknado this doesn't last that long. It's mostly just about the aftermath of the Sharknado.
Right. Yeah. The Sharknado One is really like so Sharknado One isn't trying to be funny. The other sequels you'll notice get a lot more comedic and a lot more of a parody of themselves. The first film tried to keep it actually like serious.
It
Um,
tried. It wasn't a parody of itself yet.
no, and honestly, I mean, if you look at the budget of Sharknado, I think it was okay with all that they had for resources. I think it was okay. Um, the critics
But
loved it, by the way. It got a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Um, but I feel like this film, like we talked about the CGI, but like, is that it had a budget of 2 million, so I kind of feel like it's pretty good for 2 million.
but the problem really is the character April
Yeah,
because she's really whiny and she's horribly acted.
and she's also like the main character of the whole series.
Yes, I have to talk about this now because when I saw her die at the end of the third one, I was happy. But then she came back as a fucking robot. We need to talk about that then, but that's what.
That's yeah. We do have a little ways to go before we
But
get to
anyways,
that.
she so one of my main characters, Finn, is like act like the Sharknado is like, hey, you should probably. He calls his ex-wife April. He's like, hey, be careful. And she's like, stop calling me. You don't get Claudia until like once a month. Wah. That's an accurate
Right.
representation
I
of
mean,
that.
that's pretty much April's character for the whole thing. Um,
Um,
so
and
Finn is kind of like our main protagonist. We got, I think there's an Aussie. I forget his name. You got George.
George is my favorite character.
Yes, me too. We got Nova. Um,
Cla-
and I think that's the main cast.
There's also Matt
There's also Matt, which is Finn's son, and
and
Claudia,
Claudia.
which is Finn's daughter, and of course April and her boyfriend,
Yes.
who I also forget the name of. So that's all the characters that are important. Um,
So they after like the Sharknado's coming and everyone gets in the car except for April, Matt, and Claudia who aren't in the movie really yet.
yeah,
It's Nova, George, Finn, and someone else. I think I forget.
um, it's the Aussie, right?
whatever. They
The
drive.
Aussie guy.
But they drive. Finn drives, and then they get to like an overpass,
Right.
and then there's a dog trapped in a car, and then George goes and helps the dog, and then George, who's the best character because he's drunk and he has a favorite, and the only weapon he brings, the other brings like guns and chainsaws, and he just brings a stool, which is great.
And he still does a lot with that stool.
And then unfortunately he dies, which is very sad because he was the best character.
Yep, and then the series just takes a wrong turn, a couple wrong turns from there. So Sharknado won. Honestly, after that, I think they end up going to April's place, right?
Yeah, and then her boyfriend's like, "Hey, no, go away," and then he gets killed.
And then he gets just murdered, and then they have to go try to rescue. So then they rescue April, and then they have to try to rescue Matt, who's in flight school. And then they're like, "Crap, guys, there's Sharknadoes coming after us. What if we get bombs? Then Matt can fly his plane and throw bombs on the NATOs." So that's what they do, and then it works.
And then Finn's friend gets eaten.
Yeah.
We should talk about.
Oh yeah. Then the Australian gets eaten for some reason.
I don't know why he's in the denouement of the series. He's not even there, so I don't think he doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think he ever comes back.
No, he just in every adaptation he just dies by sharks.
Yeah.
Anyways, then Nova Clark, one of the characters, almost dies but doesn't.
Yeah. Wait, doesn't she get like?
And also Finn jumps into a shark's mouth with a chainsaw.
Oh yeah. By the way, there's gonna be this trope in this whole series. If the shark doesn't bite you, you're not dead. I don't care if you go into the shark's mouth, you're not dead. Okay, you're just not gonna die. If you get swallowed by a shark and you're still whole, you will not die.
It's like war.
But that's pretty much the film, actually, because these films are only like an hour and a half long, so they're actually really short. So the best part about these films is that like you could get really bored of it, but they're only an hour and a half long. So
yeah,
it's worth it to at least just watch through the whole thing. Just be like, oh,
I mean, there's 9 hours of this shit.
Yeah, but that's it. See, a lot of Hollywood movies that are terrible. I'm trying to think of a couple who are like really long and just complete garbage.
Like Jurassic Park.
Like Jurassic, yeah. How long is that? Actually, it's probably only like.
I have no idea. It was. I can't find it anywhere.
That would have been a great film to like include in our Jurassic Park review. Just like yeah, and then there's this the fourth Jurassic Park. I give.
Okay.
What do you want to rate Sharknado?
We're not done with Sharknado yet because there's also April just doesn't do anything.
Oh yeah. By the way, yeah, April literally doesn't do anything, but then writes a whole book about it.
April literally does nothing, except scream and whine.
Right.
And in the second film, she loses her hand at the beginning because a shark attacks a plane and kills everyone.
All right.
Also, April, she just hangs outside a plane for a while.
Right. Do you want to get into the second film before we do our first film review, or like?
I think we should review them together because
they're kind of basically this. Yeah, we can honestly combine these two and just call it a 3-hour film because they're basically the same. So the second film.
And now they're in New York.
Yes.
New York.
So the first film takes place in LA, and the second film takes place in New York. So basically, Finn is on a plane with April. They've gotten back together, and April's like released this like book about how to survive a Sharknado. Then all of a sudden, a Sharknado comes onto the plane. By the way, there's like no exposition for these films. It kind of just happens, and because there's not enough time, so it just kind of happens, and then you just have to go with it.
Yeah, and George is dead.
Yes. So George is dead. So this film kind of honestly 0 out of 10. Yeah.
Anyway. Well, there's also don't forget about Ben, the taxi driver, who is the best character of this film.
Right.
Who just is the best comic relief character you can have other than George. And at least Ben survives at least 2/3 of the movie, and George only survives like a third. So Ben may not be as funny, but he knows how to survive a Sharknado better.
And then
also in this film, the Sharknadoes do not dissipate. They just need to exist.
Right. So the problem about Sharknado is that they don't really give you an explanation of what happens in the first film. But trust me, they sure as hell aren't going to give you an explanation for what happens in the rest of the films. You just kind of have to go with it. There's just a Sharknado. Oh well.
Like, how the hell do they happen?
I don't know. They tried to explain it in the first film, but they didn't really come across with it, so they just had to kind of like just pretend it just exists.
And in the third film, they're like, the Sharknadoes stay in the air for a while, and that's all they say.
Right, that's the best clue we get, honestly, after the first. I know the first film tries to do an explanation though, because they're kind of like, oh, the winds are so high that they actually pick up the sharks, and that's why they come into the tornado. But past that, that's the best you get, and it doesn't make sense past the first film. But anyway, so the Sharknado hits the plane. April loses
and they
her
somehow
arm.
don't die.
No. By the way, this is the classic case of the protagonist's shield. The protagonist will not die. Like you don't even have to worry because there's no way that the protagonist is gonna die. It just isn't gonna happen. And
no, like even if you are freaking hanging out of a plane.
By the way, there's been a lot of weird. I think at one point in one of the films, at least, like Finn like surfboards onto a shark and like crashes down, and it's just completely fine. So,
oh yeah,
these guys don't die at all for any reason whatsoever.
They just don't.
They just don't die. It's the protagonist's bubble. It's the protagonist's shield.
And then they get to New York, and then April's in hospital for the entire film. And I'm like, thank God, we're not going to deal with it. And she still has to have a escape sequence from the hospital for some reason.
Yeah, and there's not really there's never really good explanations for anything in these films, but for this one, she just kind of like, okay, I'm in the hospital. Nah, I'm just gonna leave. How is being
She's like, I'm a head out.
How is being hurt real? Just leave. Like, how? Just leave.
That's like, that's like saying I don't have any plans for getting COVID, so why do I have to wear a mask?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm. Wait, I want to get on this plane. Just let me get on the plane. What about it? No, there's no travel ban.
Why are the snakes on my plane?
Oh. Ooh. Nice film reference. Indiana Jones is just somewhere crying right now. Anyway.
Also, don't forget about the fifth movie just being Indiana Jones the knockoff for a while.
Yeah.
But we're still in the second film. There's also they have, for some reason, Finn has another love interest in this film.
Right. Sky.
And she dies unceremoniously. That's a trope. Like, if you're a main character, if you die unceremoniously.
Yes. Anyway, this film is kind of just like the first film, but in New York. I really don't I don't even remember this one, although it is probably my favorite one. Sharknado 2 is probably, or Sharknado. These are the best ones, by the way.
They are the best ones.
These are the best. Most fun. These ones are okay films. Like, if you get past the fact that they look bad because the budget is low, they're not bad.
And if you get past the horrible acting of April, which is very hard to do, they're pretty good films.
Yeah, and by the way, let me just say something. Ian Zelling, I think that's his name. Is that his name? It's something like that. The guy who plays Finn. He's actually a pretty good actor. Like, he doesn't ever really phone it in. He tries his hardest, even though it's really silly. And I have to kind of commend him on that.
And I give these two films a 6 out of 10.
Right. So I think that both of these films, I think I would rate Sharknado 1 probably like a 7. I think that it's, really good, and I would probably also give Sharknado 2 the same. I think that they're both good, but not great for some audiences.
They're just stupid.
They're stupid, but they're stupid fun. They're fun stupid. And honestly, all of these films are fun stupid, but just in different ways.
Also, just remember, we watched these films a while ago.
Yeah, the first three I
have been going into like immense detail, like the fire chief is played by a wrestler. Like, we don't want to be sitting here for hours on end just talking about each film in depth.
Right. All you need to know.
We spent 45 minutes talking about Indiana Jones and and the kicking of the crystal skull. We're not going to spend that long talking about each of these films.
No. All you really need to know is that all of these are free on Prime. I do recommend watching at least a couple of these. If you want to watch the whole series, go right ahead. I think it'll maybe give you a little bit of value, but I definitely think that these are the best ones.
And now let's get on to, I like to call, the area that makes me go, that grinds my gears.
we're going to talk about. Are you ready for this? Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No. Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens. Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. And finally, Sharknado 6, It's About Time. I think it's actually called The Last Sharknado, It's About Time.
Also, let's not forget, It's About Time is a genuinely good name.
Yes, I was like, oh my god, this is actually like a really good like name. It has so many layers to it. It's like an onion. Anyway,
it's like an ogre.
It's like an ogre, but also an onion, and also like a shark.
Well,
we're gonna get to that one
the
scene.
The third film and the bane of my existence, the one where they go to fucking space.
Right. So these next couple, all of these honestly are idiotic. There's not a part of it that's actually like good. You know?
Yeah.
I think that, I do like the sixth one. I think the sixth one's pretty good, but the rest of these are really just mindless. And honestly, they're the perfect kind of films for if you've been like, if you're really tired and you just want.
They're also the perfect kind of films if you hate yourself.
I mean, either one, Do you want to get into Sharknado 3?
Let's get into Sharknado 3.
Okay.
The one where April dies.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're right. She does die in this one. So, basically, all you really need to know about this film is that April is By the way, April really is, like, the main character. Oh,
April is pregnant, and April is a bitch.
Yes. So, basically, April's pregnant in this film, and that's all you really need to know. That's her whole character in this film.
There's a freaking Sharknado wall.
Yes, so the purpose of this is that now we've seen it in New York, we've seen it in Los Angeles. This is all around the East Coast, all the way up from Maine to Florida. And the Sharknadoes are everywhere. They're attacking every major city. They are
And we also have to remember the beginning of the film. It has my favorite character, Jared Fogle.
No. I did not know that.
Jared, the subway guy who was arrested for freaking being a chocolate.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
And also, freaking Matt Lauer.
Yeah, Matt Lauer is the MVP of this. Actually, and Al Roker. They're both like.
No, it's Al Roker. Al Roker freaking survives because Matt Lauer doesn't appear any time else in the series. I'm forced to believe that Matt Lauer dies in Sharknado 3.
Yeah, there's actually a scene I think where
they are attacked, and Al Roker, Matt Lauer, and a bunch of other people are attacked. Al Roker freaking survives and goes back to continuing working. He survives the Sharknado attack when he's being eaten by a shark. Al Roker survives. Al Roker is the total MVP.
True. Forget Finn.
Now back to our scheduled programming. Yeah, and Jared Fogle's in Sharknado 2 and 3.
Right.
And it's some of the most like horribly aged stuff in the entire series.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really have a lot to say about the third one. It really is just like, oh,
we get introduced to Finn's father.
Oh yeah, David Hasselhoff. Yeah.
David Hasselhoff is in this for some reason. Now.
Yeah, he actually he doesn't have a bad role in this. I think he did kind of good.
He well, okay, so now they have to go to NASA and they have to go to space, and there's a bunch of Sharknadoes.
And there's space nados.
And then they basically try to make them explode, but it doesn't work. So now they're all in space, and
David Hasselhoff has to be left on the moon for some reason.
Oh, also, don't forget that there's like a freaking laser beam in the middle of outer space.
Oh yeah. You're right.
And then that's how they get rid of the Sharknado's laser beam from outer space.
I mean, it is Sharknado. I don't really know what you were expecting.
And then David Hasselhoff is stuck on the moon.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good death. Like he's stuck on the moon. And then April gives birth in the shark, and then April gets crushed by a.
And then she gets like sliced. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, she's dead.
And
she's
then Sharknado 4.
Now I don't have to deal with her anymore. And then Sharknado 4 is like, she's a robot now.
Okay, so Sharknado 4 starts with this guy being like, "Hey, I stopped every single Sharknado from ever occurring ever again."
And I saved him from the moon. That I saved David Hasselhoff from the moon.
Oh yeah, that was stupid. By the way, I hated that sequence, but whatever.
And also 5 years later.
Yes, and basically, what happens in this film is basically April is confused because she apparently thought that Finn had died, but Finn had not died, and she also became a robot thanks to her father.
Yes.
And
now and she is like somehow her acting is worse.
Yeah, she kind of just phones it in after Sharknado 3. She sort of tried in the first two, and then the third one she kind of.
But now she's like when she screams, she's like, what?
Yeah, I feel like she's not even trying to be genuine about it. Maybe that was the point. Maybe the whole point was that like everyone was like, yeah, you need to act worse. But I don't. That doesn't make any sense.
Anyways, now the Sharknadoes across the entirety of the United States.
Right. So they have a farm, I think, in Kansas, right?
Named April Acres because they think April has died, and she has. This is not April anymore. This is a robot copy of April.
Yes, April, as we know it, has died. Now it's replaced by. Actually, that might be why. That might be why the acting's so bad, because she's technically a robot.
Or she's been told act more like monotone, act more like a robot, because she's technically a robot now. She just acts.
Wait, hang on. April Wexley's actually the best character in the entire movie? Wait, what?
No, she's not. Don't take our jokes as seriousness.
No,
she's literally the worst character.
Right, because she's like a cyborg.
Now she can just do anything because she's a robot now. It's the most horrible plot device.
It's actually the you know when everyone was like in Star Wars like, oh, Rey's a Mary Sue? No, this is actually a Mary Sue, guys. Okay? You can't even deny it.
Anyways, now there's like now we got freaking Gilford Godfrey, which is the best part because he's just screaming and it's the best. We got a Firenado.
Yeah, no, he's great. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's in every single film after this point, and he's the best part of every single one of these films because he's just funny.
Yeah,
he's genuinely funny.
Yeah, he was amazing.
And the character that he's playing in this film doesn't die.
Right. Oh no. Yeah, you're right. He tracks the storm but just doesn't die. He's like, oh, he's got the protagonist shield.
It's a nuclear NATO.
Anyway, that's kind of it. Honestly, they become like nuclear toxic and
they survive freaking getting trapped in a tornado. Like everyone survives that gets trapped in the tornado.
Yeah, they all get like swallowed by the sharks, and then the little kid's just like, LMAO, I'm just gonna cut open these sharks now, and he cuts open every single one, and then someone new comes out.
Yes, every single character that you saw died didn't.
Yes. This is probably the worst one. They try to act like it's Star Wars, but it's like really bad, and it's just.
No, that's yeah. Don't they give like her like. It's they after this we get like a parody of each film of like a film. In this one, it's Star Wars.
Right.
And the fifth one, it's Indiana Jones.
And the sixth one, it's Back to the Future.
Yes.
And that's it. That's literally.
And now,
it. Yeah.
so now in the fifth one, we went from the United States to the entire world.
Which honestly is a good step up. I think that worked well. So
Anyways,
they have to.
In this film, everyone across the entire world dies.
Yep. And if you think we're kidding, we're not.
We're not.
The plot centers around April and Finn trying to get back Gil, their son, who is trapped in a tornado and or Sharknado, and he just happens to be alive continuously. Um,
And then the film ends with him being alive.
oh yeah, so this film honestly we can kind of skip over because literally the only things that matter is that everyone dies except for Finn and
And yeah.
and Gil, and that's it. And Gil finds a way to time travel. So you know what that means, and this is why Sharknado 6's title is so crazy. Sharknado 6, it's about time because it is about time, but it's also like, oh my god, thank God these films are over. It's such a great title. I love it.
Anyways, every character that you saw die throughout the film is in this series is now here. Sky alive. Um, one of the characters from Sharknado 2 alive. Nova alive. April, not a robot, but still horrible acting.
Right, no. So that, yeah, you're right. So then it doesn't make sense because it's not like she just acted badly to become a yeah, no. She's actually a human in this one. That's right.
And
oh, and of course April's robot head.
yes, he's like, and that is the best character because I don't know how they did that effect.
I don't even know how they. This okay, so this one is good, but it doesn't make any sense. So I don't even know if we want to get into a plot synopsis because I don't know where to begin.
So they go throughout time, and they find out that the original flag of the American Revolution was the Confederate flag, which was weird.
Yeah.
That was literally the Confederate flag that they used. They didn't use the American flag. They used the freaking stars and the bars, which is the Confederate flag. So yes, it turns out that George Washington was a Confederate.
Yeah.
That's
your history lesson for today.
And also, they go through time, and they do a bunch of shit, and they mess with time. Nova dies again.
But it's okay, because you want to know why it's okay?
Because they reset everything at the end of the film.
And that's why I love this film. Because you know what? Literally everything we just talked about doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
None of it matters. And I love it. Because now, guess what? I can rest knowing that all of my favorite characters are safe, including George. He comes back. And it's just...
And Sky is now running for president.
Which is fine, because honestly, I don't... Like, that's fine. Have everyone still be alive, please.
I didn't waste more than 30 minutes of my life talking about these horrible films.
Yeah, we're only at 27 minutes, actually. This is going to be... I don't even have to edit. This has been amazing. But the reason why we skipped over a lot of this...
Now, Sharknado 3, I give a freaking 2 out of 10. Sharknado 4, I give a 1 out of 10. Sharknado 5, I give a 5 out of 10, and Sharknado 6, I give a 10 out of 10 because I'm finally done with this series.
Just give it a 10. Let's see.
No, I don't. I give it a 7.
I think that Sharknado 3 was okay. I'm gonna give it like a 3. I think Sharknado 4 was really bad. I'm gonna give it a 1. By the way, things don't normally get a 0 out of 10 unless they're really bad. Like, they just have no redeeming quality. Sharknado 4 has
I just want to tell you that the next film we're watching is The Room, and I'm giving it a preemptive 0 out of 10.
I can't believe we're gonna watch 2 films that are horribly acted in a row. It's gonna be just yeah. Anyway, Room's gonna be our season 2 premiere. It'll probably be out next week though, like normal. And I'm gonna give Sharknado. I'm gonna give Sharknado 5. I'm gonna give Sharknado 5 like a 1 as well. I really didn't like either 4 or 5, and they're both kind of just bad. And then Sharknado 6, I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10. No, I'm gonna give Sharknado 6 an 8. I actually really like Sharknado 6. It was really bad.
Okay, now,
but the ending was
we're
great.
done. We're free. I watched them all this week. I watched all 6 this week because I just didn't want to watch them last week because I was dreading it. Dread it, run from it. Sharknado comes all the same.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 last week, and then I watched all of the last 3 today. I watched 4, 5, and 6 today. So yeah, pretty much just when I woke up, I'm like, okay, Sharknado time, and I just didn't stop.
You know what I like about only having to watch one film next week? What? I can just watch it next Saturday.
Yeah, and we can just have fun with that. Yeah. Um, in any
That's the
case,
problem with watching franchises.
yeah.
Um,
Unless we were to do like one every week, but even then, like we wouldn't have had enough material. I feel like we basically just glossed over Sharknado 5. Could you imagine if we had to talk about that for like an entire half hour?
yeah, Sharknado 5 was just, hey, you like the character? They're dead. Hey, you like that other character? They're dead. Hey, like Gil? He's trapped in a tornado.
You like Finn? Oh, okay, we'll leave Finn alone.
Hey, you like April? She exploded.
And
And she is just ahead.
in any case, that's gonna do it. Let us know what you thought of the Sharknado films if you've ever seen them before, and be sure to comment down below
And
any
remember,
other
that's just a theory. A
film
film
theory
theory. Thanks for
and
watching.
cut. Oh.
I don't care. Let's just.
Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below any good or bad films we should watch for season 2. This was your season 1 finale. And honestly, this is just painful. um,
I'm in severe pain from watching all these movies.
Thank God Al Roker is a guy, and thank God that
Thank God Al Roker survives because Al Roker is the only good character.
and the reporter guy. What's his name?
Guilford Godfrey.
Thank God he's in the films. Those two are the MVPs. F you, Billy Ray Cyrus. You didn't contribute crap to the series. All right. Anyway.
And also, F you, Jared Fogle. F you, Matt Lauer.
Yeah, you guys all suck. All right. Goodbye, guys.